Oh, here we are back at the van. Oh, fuck. The van is driving. Oh, Christ. Where are we going? Devon feels his body bouncing and shaking on a hard metallic surface, occasionally leaning from side to side, feeling like he's laying down in a car, taking sharp turns. The bear opens his eyes, groaning.
Dev?
Wait, no, that was Cameron. Dev?
Cam? Is Cameron driving?
The coyote has his own sedan that he drives, but usually if they're out together, it's in Devon's Jeep. At first, he thinks maybe he's given the wheel to the coyote so that he himself can get some rest, but they came in the Jeep, and Cameron can't drive standard, right? Come on, stop assuming things. Lately, Cameron seems to bristle whenever he does. Lately, as in ever since they got to Echo.
Devon, I'm here. How you doing?
Cameron's concerned, gentle voice. Okay, now it's God, I hate it when they give me voice direction after the fucking line. Cameron's concerned, gentle voice, as opposed to the rough voice that it was last time, is clearly masking something strained and desperate underneath.
Cameron, what was wrong?
I told you he's all drugged up. But he can barely talk.
Cam?
Exactly. I already told you I roofied him. It's like blacking out. Anyway, it's wearing off. He's just tired. Look at the flowers, sweet Jesus. Is that blood? Why is he bleeding? Did it to himself. Imagine what a mess we'd have. Imagine the mess we'd have if he wasn't drugged, right? Never trust a bear to stay put when you chain him up. That's the moral here. We finally found the moral. You fucking psycho. But no, he's not a psycho, he's just selfish. That was such a dumb now that we've passed that was such a dumb analyzation of Brian. I'm sorry. In my opinion. In disagreeing with the author, but like, Devon, can you hear me? Are you okay?
Yes.
Where the fuck are we going? Then he's drifting back to sleep again. More sons are driving on a rough road, gravel grinding under wheels and hitting the undercarriage. We trying to find Artie? Well, that's gonna be rough. When he comes to again, it's stopped and Devon realizes the van doors are open. Looks like it did wear off just in time.
Can I go to him, please?
Devon sees that one of Cameron's ears is twisted in the older bear's grasp. Coyote's head tilted to the side, wincing as he tries to get a better look at Devon. The younger bear becomes very still, seeing his best friend being held by the worst person he's ever met. One of his soft, sensitive ears that Devon had played with countless times in the past is now twisted tightly onto itself. In Brian's other paw, he holds a shotgun. On top of it all, Brian looks angrier than usual. In fact, he's looking at Cameron with an expression of utter contempt, while Cameron isn't paying attention to him, looking intently at Devon instead. Of course, fucking typical. I'm glad I saved this. Suddenly grabs the coyote by the shoulders and turns Cameron around to face him, to face away from Devon. Even so, there's no confusion as to what happens to Cameron next. Brian turns slightly away from Cameron, then spins and sends the back of his fist across the coyote's muzzle. Unnecessary. It sounds so loud, Devon is shocked awake, adrenaline compensating for the sedative. At first, Devon refuses to believe what he just saw, that a sound like that could have been made with Cameron's muzzle. Mom, this is not the game. You do not want to be for this. Okay, you're just saying hi, okay? This is like trauma a la carte. But hi, Mom, I'm glad to say hi to you. But everyone say hi to my mom. You can't show up when I'm playing like Simpsons Road Rage, or maybe you were. I think you actually did, but I played like Hamster Playground, all these like nice games. No, you show up during Arches. During the... Jeez, man. Ah, love you, Mom. Anyway, at the risk of exposing my mother to this horrid game, I shall continue reading it. Coyote's head snaps to the right before he instantly starts to crumple, but Brian holds him up. Hey! Devon yells automatically, shocked by what he just saw. Never seen someone hit that hard in his entire life. In the silence that follows, the distinct sound of something small clatters around the van, as if the plastic bead that had been thrown against the metal walls. Oh God. Was it the key? What is it? Devon hears it land next to him, and looking down, he sees something long spinning in place before finally coming to a stop. It's thin, white, and it starts wide, but it tapers to a sharp point. Devon only has a moment to focus on it before he grunts as Cameron lands on top of him, Brian having pushed him over. What is this? Okay. Oh, he's chained up and he just got slumped over. As he's looking down at the coyote, he sees blood beginning to seep from his mouth. Devon realizing the white thing is one of Cameron's teeth. Oh! Oh. And shocked anger overcomes the fear. Hey! Hey, wait a minute! Hey, wait a minute! That wasn't very nice. All sense had seemingly left Devon. Everything he's feeling had... All sense has seemingly left Devon. Everything he's feeling and thinking condensed down to that one word that he screams to express his rage. Hey! Cam! Cam! Panic is making him breathe fast, though he tries to keep his chest from heaving to avoid bouncing Cameron's head. Brian had hit him so hard that it definitely could have killed him. Damn, really? Just gonna backhand him to death? Not entirely sure. I mean, if anyone in the Echo universe would be that strong, it could be Brian, but like... That's a big assumption. What makes it all the more terrifying is the way Cameron's body went limp. Dead people go stiff, not limp. But if you're panicking, you're not really thinking about that. It had been so reminiscent of Artie's sudden collapse when he had suddenly lost his life, and Devon doesn't know Artie's alive. Cameron is breathing, though it's in a terrible snorting way. Cammy, baby, can you hear me? Cammy, baby. Cammy, baby. The panic in his voice lowers to an almost pitiful whine as he stares back at the coyote, twitching, his eyes half open and his head turning back and forth slowly. Whoop! Took out a bit more on him than I meant to. Fuck, that hurt. Oh, the humanity. Brian shakes his paw he used to hit Cameron, as if bashing Cameron's muzzle made it sting. Devon's rage crescendos once more. Brian! Brian! Ow, my knee! My fucking knee! I'm ruining the tension of this scene. Before this series, I would never have seen the name Brian in a light that would have invoked horror. Brian. This just sounds like a name you would see at an IT meeting. Brian. You'd meet them at a fucking luncheon at work. Brian. That's someone that you went to high school with but didn't really talk to because you only saw them in your computer class. Brian. They're the lunch lady's son who gets extra fucking bread only. Brian. It's not a name that you would fear. Until now. But anyway. Oh, yes, and fucking Family Guy. Brian. My acting teacher's name is Brian. Anyway, Brian! I will fucking kill you! Brian looks surprised for just a second. Then he goes on grinning, enjoying the reaction, as if he's watching a show. This only makes Devon angrier. Oh! Hey! These lines here, that this is what I was reading in the trailer for Build 7. I'll knock every tooth out of your fucking head, I'll tear your throat out, I'll... This is what I was reading. This scene is what I was narrating in the fucking trailer. I had to get in this mental space. It's kind of why I'm not going there again right now. Because it wasn't fun. It wasn't. I was in this room alone for like an hour. Yeah. It was not fun for me. Anyway, I'll knock every tooth out of your fucking head. I'll tear your throat out. I'll go to the save page accidentally. Yeah. So if you want to hear me read this with full fucking sincerity, you can hear it in that trailer. Devon's voice weakens, breaks, and trails off under Brian's apparent glee at the younger bear's fury. Realizing that Cameron's ears are twitching at his shouting, Devon returns his attention to Cameron as Coyote lets out a low, rasping groan. Is it Cameron? Yep. And that's how it ends. I don't know if that got kept in the trailer. I haven't watched it in months, but the last line of what I recorded was maybe not all of that, but it was like Cameron as a question mark. Oh, I'm actually getting flashbacks of it. Because it was hard, man. Anyway. Cameron, honey, you can hear me right, Cameron. Fuck! I need to move on. Meanwhile, blood oozes out of the coyote's nose and mouth, seeping into the fur on Devon's stomach and side. Devon tries to keep his sobbing and gasping to a minimum as Cameron's head continues to rest over his diaphragm. Cameron's eyes flutter, and then he blinks, and Devon sees the light of consciousness re-enter his eyes. Cam! Devon. Cameron grunts under his breath, lifting his head slightly. Brian what the hell did I just say? Brian already looks bored under the catastrophe he just created. And now he keeps looking over his shoulder into the darkness that stretches behind him, shifting impatiently. Alright, make it quick, Yodi. We need to get moving. Don't you touch him! You could have broken his fucking neck! That was a horrible reading. That was terrible. You could have broken his fucking neck! Devon's voice cracks and turns hoarse again. Brian bristles, finally reacting, but Devon turns his attention back to Cameron, continuing to try and gently coax him into a state of consciousness. Come on, baby, can you hear me? Can you understand what I'm saying? Slowly, Cameron lifts his head, a mixture of blood and saliva connecting his lip to Devon's fur in a long strand. Okay, I'm fine. Cameron sounds confused as he mumbles, trying to get up unsteadily. No, stay still. No, get up. Didn't I tell you what I'd do to your bear if you don't then do it? Come over here and do it, you fucking coward! You fucking scum, Devon! Cameron's voice is calm, albeit quiet and weak. And the bear goes silent as he focuses on the coyote. He has his head lifted, trying to focus on Devon's face. Who's feeling this right now? question catches the bear by surprise. What?
The mines. That's right. I'm going to the mines. And I'm coming back for you.
Coming back for you, baby! Coming back for you! Fun fact, Bri made the fruit bats, in case you didn't know. It's in the description of every fucking video and stream, so you, whatever, but she's the one that made the fruit bats. One of the many things that she's been working on is another doing of the fruit bats. And she's over there doing grapes right now. And it's fucking cute. Cameron clasps a paw to his muzzle, wincing hard as he shuts his eyes tight. What mine? Stay here! Devon's eyes well up with tears, seeing that the coyote is barely coherent, barely able to understand what's happening. Cameron leans in to kiss the bear again, taking Devon by surprise. All the blood and viscera and teeth mixing together. It's just like, ugh, ugh, ugh. Like, that's sweet but gross. He immediately smells and tastes Cameron's blood. Yeah, making the gorge rise in his throat. Yeah, it's fucking nasty. Reminds him of his predatory nightmares, but Cameron insists, so Devon forces himself not to heave. This is a sweet sickening, it's gross. God damn it. Didn't want to feel the gap where Cameron's lower left canine used to be, the unevenness of his already swelling muzzle. As he forces himself to kiss back, he feels something else press against his lips. Something hard and... The fucking key! Oh, it's the fucking key! So fucking smart! Something hard and oddly shaped, and Devon opens his muzzle, allowing the blood and... Fuck, that's so goddamn nasty. The blood and flood to flood into his mouth. But with it comes something... Legitimately almost threw up there. I have a fucking paranoia about puking. The key shows up. I gotta get this off the fucking screen. I'm sorry. It was so that's so fucking gross. God, I feel ill. I feel ill. Oh, fuck. It was so fucking disgusting. Devon maneuvers the key into his muzzle as subtly as he can, hearing Brian sigh impatiently behind Cameron. It slides under his tongue, tiny in his comparatively large muzzle. Cameron whispers in Devon's ear,
"We're gonna go back home together. I promise." "But where are you going? Why the mines, honey, please?"
Devon can't keep the whining panic out of his voice, sounding like a cub, managing to keep the words clear with a tiny key under his tongue. "Don't swallow it." Devon just stares at... God, I'm so... Yeah, man. This is so fucking disgusting. Oh, God. Devon just stares at Cameron as he pulls back, tears rolling down his cheeks as the coyote crawls weakly to his feet and steadies himself against the wall of the van. "You're fine." Turns his gaze back to the furious, sobbing bear. "Sit tight, kid. We'll be back in a little while, I promise." It's an arch. Get it? Being knocked out, regaining consciousness, stumbling his way through the dark, all while on an untold amount of shrooms, is harrowing. It's the only word Cameron feels is appropriate for his situation. Harrowing. Heroin. I promise. Your promises mean nothing to me, you asshole. The world is more dreamlike than his dreams. This combination of disorienting factors leaves Cameron fumbling through a series of events immediately after he'd reached the old bear. Brian grabbed his paw, and suddenly they were moving swiftly through the desert before Cameron is pulled into a place that's cold and dark, lit up dimly by an old electric lantern, its handle hanging from the barrel of Brian's shotgun. Now that's just dumb. That's just a bad idea. If Cameron thought his perception of time was fucked on weed, now it's twisted over on itself. He's exhausted, having not eaten a proper meal in well over a day, and his throat is so dry he thinks he might be willing to drink Brian's drugged water. I was worried about where that was going. Each time Brian goes around a bend first, where his bulk obscures it as the lantern light disappears and leaves Cameron in darkness. Each time that happens, brilliant red arcs crowd his vision. Arcs or arches? Get it? Because it's the name of the game. Who's in darkness? Jesus, he's fucked up. I am the darkness. Everything is in darkness. No, just me. Stop fighting, it'll only make it worse. Cameron's surprised with the bear's sudden appearance. Where am I? Brian sighs heavily again. Doesn't matter. But Cameron crumples up as something jabs him hard in the sternum, twisting on itself, then feeling a black hole open in his chest. It sucks the rest of his body and attention into it as the canine curls up on the hard dirt floor, whining and grunting. Finally, air returns to his lungs, and as it does, he hears a snorting sound again. After a while, Cameron looks up from his position on the ground and sees Brian on his knees, appearing to smell the stock of his shotgun. And Cameron notices the white powder. He understands what's happening. Cameron hears a familiar voice, one that he's sure he's hearing and not imagining. Dylan? 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 Who the fuck is Dylan? Wait a minute. Hold up. Dylan is Cam's abusive ex. Oh, hell. So we've actually never seen Dylan before. Oh, fucking hell. Don't ignore it. You're trying to kill your nasal cavity, not your fucking lungs. That's how my friends did it. Then your friends are fucking idiots. Brian looks up from his disappearing line of bath salts. Who are you talking to? Cameron quietly tries to hush Dylan, but Brian already heard them. On top of that, Brian doesn't seem angry or upset, but his continued stare demands an answer. Yeah, you're right. His name's Dylan. He's my ex. Sorry, we don't get along well. You getting some third man syndrome? Whenever I get real fucked up on too many drugs for too long, a person always shows up. You end up having a conversation with him and everything. Brian readjusts the way he's holding his lantern and gun and grabs Cameron's arm with the other. Hey, it happens to people in survival situations too. And I'm always too delirious to remember who the third man is. Yeah. Cameron can't understand how Dylan isn't real, but this nightmare bear apparently is. Is he being tricked? Alright, here's the deal. I'll stop hitting you as long as you're smiling, got it? Uh-huh. Brian clenches his fist meaningfully. Cameron winces, then quickly stretches his mouth into a large smile, even though it hurts to the point that tears well up in his eyes. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize what you were talking about for a second. I remember now. Sure you do. I'm not saying that. Brian continues to inspect Cameron as the coyote remains quiet, keeping a smile plastered on his face. This experience is too much. All of this is too much. He just wants it to stop. It'll do whatever this bear, this source of his torment wants, if it prevents him from being hurt again. Yes, I did bust your chops pretty good, huh? Oh God. Cameron flinches as the bear grabs his badly aching muzzle in one giant paw. Wait, please don't ag. Cameron cringes hard, but does his best to hold still. Yep, broke your tooth too. Swelling up a bit, but you're cuter with your face all messed up like that.
Too bad it's gonna look real ugly by tomorrow morning. Not that it'll matter. It's just hard to look at you now with that stupid scar.
All right, let's go, and grabs the shoulder instead, at the same time glancing at Cameron's shirt.
You from Bridgetown, Timber City? Or did you just pick that up from the Goodwill? I always say, when you're shopping at the Goodwill, never pick up clothes that have anything to do with the place. Fuck, just a few years back, I took a Western sweatshirt from the Salvation Army, and
Cameron follows along silently. Meanwhile, that third presence has shifted into something else, something a bit more familiar. Brian's getting chatty again from the second dose he took.
Anyway, I hear that city's overrun with
Man, as if these games weren't already fucking hard as shit to deal with, you gotta bring, like, real life shit. Like, real life ignorance. Like, there's already real life ignorance into this stuff, but, like, historical real life ignorance. I guess there really isn't a difference to bring like, current real life ignorance. So, here's Brian being a fucking... You gotta make him a fascist too, don't you? So, here he goes.
Anyway, I hear that city's overrun with Antifa and all that. A true liberal hellscape, if ever there was one.
His mother, following behind them, holding his paw. Looking back, he can't see her clearly, but he knows it's her. It's okay. A lot of time, it's outside groups coming into the city making trouble. Even sounds like her, defending the city they both grew up in, despite its problems, despite its streets becoming a stage for the country's culture wars to physically play out. Even while they suffered on the outskirts of what was supposed to be a liberal bastion lit up by the lights of tolerance and welfare, but instead glowing orange from burning cars and flashbangs. What is that supposed to mean? Yet they defended it because they both believed in its core principles. Now, though, Cameron looks behind himself while also looking back. That was a weird inclusion. Like, I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean. Cameron looks behind himself while also looking back. He's taller than she is. He's reminded of just how small she was. How small she'd seem to him now that if she'd survived. It would have saved her too if she could have held on just a little longer. But how much longer? 4, 5 years? Could she have held on that long? Not with her habit and the amount she was using. And though Cameron doesn't want to admit it, it was her death that spurred him to make the first serious change in his life. His mom wasn't a good mom. All things considered, she shouldn't have ever had children, but how can he judge? She was just 17 years old, excited and in love, living out of the 70s Chevy van, and all this. But all that came to an end when he was born in December 1995. Then his abusive, probably schizophrenic father left and committed suicide sometime in the mid-2000s. But for a few months in 1995, his parents truly wanted to make a good life for him. And that feeling from that moment in time overwhelms Cameron. They wanted him to be happy, successful, and they truly thought he'd be the one to break the curse of poverty on both their families. He's not smiling. Brian's going to flip out. Even though they wanted that for him, they especially wanted him to be happy, to have a family life and a childhood that both his parents were only able to see other kids enjoy from afar. They tried. It's the most typical love story but it's the most typical love story for people like them. Because then, like in all those other stories, things break and things settle. He'd done that exact same. He'd done the exact same before Devon. She should have taken more precautions. She left him alone in the trailer often, her medications and recreational drugs freely available for him to experiment with while she was at work. He became an addict just like her. He'd come to understand the baggage that comes with that label. That it's not about craving or desire for something. Everyone has that. About who you are as a person. Liar, thief, cheater. Someone willing to do anything to get whatever it is and their addiction. It is their addiction demands. Anything to feel good. Whether it's pathetically checking all of the coin dispensers in a casino once you've spent your life savings, or pathetically combing through the carpet for whatever drug it is that you're starting to come down from. The only thing that saved him from that life and death was his grades. Somehow, through all the substance abuse and neglect, he was a straight A student. And that's what got him a partial scholarship to the University of Pueblo. That's what got him out of the trailer parks surrounding Bridgetown and into this state's flagship university. A few schools in his own state had better offers, but Pueblo was the most prestigious of the schools that he'd gotten accepted into. The top 100 school with the best-ranked nursing and engineering programs in the region. That, and at the time, Cameron wanted to be far away from Bridgetown, even if that meant the desert. And then he met Devon. She wasn't a good mom. But she was a great person. A wonderful person. And she did the best she could with what she had at the time. She brought him into a chaotic, unstable life, a life that she saved multiple times, and while he occasionally wished his mother could just let him die. Now, Cameron is only thankful. While most of his life was tough, the past 5 years would have been better than he would have ever dared to dream was possible. His life was perfect up until yesterday, when they got here. Tears ran down his face, conflicted about how he should feel, but just knowing that he misses her, that he loves her, that he hopes she's okay, wherever she is. This third person squeezes his paw reassuringly. Cameron squeezes back, and he's confronted by the feeling that for this moment, he's sealed off from Brian and this town, and it's just him and his mom walking through these mines. She tells him that she's proud of him for graduating high school and college, and she's happy he found Devon. Would she really be proud of him if she knew that he studied what he studied? If she was still around? I would have majored in business administration or something. What'd you major in? Smile. Gentle voice from behind him, barely audible, and carried on the soft breeze that grows weaker the deeper they go into these tunnels. Music theory. And then what the hell are you supposed to do with that? Teach. The automatic answer, the one he had prepared for all of his skeptical friends who were going into STEM-related fields. You a teacher? No, but that was my plan. Some plan? I mean, I didn't go into any debt, so I had financial freedom after I graduated. You know, you're pretty coherent for someone that's on that many shrooms. Most people would lose their minds. Oh, I am. I definitely am. I don't know, I have more control than I did the first time I tried it. In fact, Cameron feels like he's losing his mind right now, laughing, even though it makes every part of his body ache. Xanax is like magic when you're panicking. Anyway, what is it that you do for a living? Did it all pay off? Judging by the tone of Brian's voice, he already knows the answer to that. customer support for Julian.
Sad, working for a country that we nuked twice. Back in the 80s, we used to beat people up for working for companies like that.
Cameron's at a loss for words, but only for a moment. Oh, okay. Julian, the current market leader in smartphone manufacturing, is Taiwanese. And the coyote assumes the bear is thinking of a certain other country in the same region. Okay. I'm just going to keep my thoughts on that to myself. Either way, the strange and disturbing aside. That's just Brian, and sometimes with Brian, it's best for Cameron to just keep his mouth shut and also keep on smiling.
So I'm music, you sing?
Cameron wishes the bear would stop asking him questions, but making small talk like any of this is a routine part of their lives. The coyote assumes bath salts will make anyone talkative. Kind of.
What do you mean, kinda? Either you sing or you don't.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I sing, but I'm not very good.
I mean, you fucking better be if you spent 4 years learning. Not just sing and I'll decide.
Oh, sweet Bippy, don't. Getting harder to keep up the cheerful charade as Cameron senses the cruel, malicious arousal rising up inside of Brian again. The second dose is making him do more than just talk too much. You talk too much! Sure, just gotta think of one to sing. Anything you want to hear? I know a lot of 90s grunge and alternative rock.
You're a walking, talking stereotype, aren't you? You're at your own music?
I definitely tried. A subtle twitch of annoyance ripples through the air.
You know, one thing that really pisses me off is when someone's acting like an overly humble little bitch. Either you do, or you don't. Either you're good at it, or you're not. Either you offer something different, or you fucking don't. So which the fuck is it?
I can. Just give me a second. The corners of Cameron's muzzle turn down slightly, his composure almost crumbling. He's doing the best he can under the current circumstances, but he needs help. Devon, where are you? Brian's attitude shifts from one extreme to the next, making Cameron feel a sort of emotional whiplash. But as long as it keeps him from getting hit, or more importantly killed, then he's fine with that. Tentatively, Cameron starts to sing, choosing the song that got him the most attention. Then one that was played in moderate rotation at Mountain West colleges, along with a few in the Northwest. Song about his ex, Dylan, about their mutual love and hate for each other, about the abuse they used to hurl at each other, physical and mental, and finally, about their breakup. His voice is rough and cracked, and while some of it is because he isn't warmed up, it's mostly due to having his throat crushed. Dehydration and screaming doesn't help either. But aside from jolting each time Brian pulls him in a different direction, Cameron finds the melody and rhythm. As he does, he becomes a bit more bold, singing louder until his voice carries through the tunnels. It feels very strange, with his swelling muzzle and missing tooth. Brian still says nothing, and Cameron realizes he's listening intently. While this makes the coyote nervous, he knows it's better than the bear being angry, and mainly, he just needs to keep singing. Devon is in the mines with them, and he needs directions. Cameron just wishes it doesn't feel like he's leading Devon to his own demise.